Hi, it's Martin Mackay here from Texthelp. I'm just going to be getting started in a few minutes. I can see viewers starting to arrive, and there could be a few people on here, so we're going to use a Hangout on air rather than a regular Hangout. And so what I want you to do is, if you've got any questions or feedback, if you could use the little Q&A link, you should see a question and answers link. Can I ask any viewers who are on here, could I ask you to just ask a question or say hello when you join, and that will let me know that the Q&A link is working okay. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go on mute for a moment, and then I'll get started about 1 minute after 7. Okay, so we've got a few viewers on now, and I'm going to make a quick start. I've got some slides, and I really just want to use the slides, first of all, to introduce what we're trying to achieve or what we're trying to do with Read and Write. And then what we want to do is show you a user journey. So this is before our programmers start to write code. We want to just kind of mock up a user journey to show you how we think we can make this work, and then to get your feedback on it. Because if we get your feedback early, we can do a really good job of making a product that's going to work well for you. So what I want to do is just, first of all, I think most of you guys know me. Obviously, I'm Martin. I'm the CTO here at Texthelp. Really, my job is trying to move our R&D forward, and I've been really focusing hard on this Google stuff this past couple of years and trying to grow that, and it's really been transformational for us, and it's making us think differently about how we reach students and how we reach teachers, and we want to take that a step further over the next few months. Over the summertime, we want to make some significant changes. So I want to start out with this piece. There are lots of kids who are still struggling with reading and writing in the US, and it's not really getting much better. The stats from the Nations Report Card are still showing that 60% of kids aren't proficient at reading. Well, these are 4th graders and 8th graders. They're not proficient in reading, or not sufficiently proficient in reading. So we want to try to help out here. We want to try to make some improvements in this way. And I'm sure you all know there's an achievement gap. And if we don't catch these kids early and get them involved in reading and helping them become avid readers, then the achievement gap just widens. And that's really what we're about. That's what we're trying to fix. And we know that when people become avid readers, whenever kids choose to lift a book and read a book because they want to and they enjoy reading, well, then their vocabulary expands in an enormous way. Kids who read because they want to read will read 400 times more text than kids who don't by the age of 16. And that has an enormous impact. They're more knowledgeable, they've got a better vocabulary, they interview better, they're generally more interesting. And so it really has a life-changing impact. And it's just, finding some interest in reading and getting some support to get over the hump of difficulties in reading. And so that's kind of what we want to be doing. That's what we want to try to do. If kids read for 1 hour a day, so if they get into a habit of, reading for 20 minutes at school and 40 minutes when they get home, that's 4 million more words in a year. So we want to give kids more opportunities to read the stuff that they're interested in. But the challenge that we have is, how do we get these kids to read stuff and practice reading out loud? So we've got Read and Write. And we've been really a little bit different with Read and Write, and we've made this premium model, and we've given away some of the really important features completely free. So the speech is the most used feature, and we've made that completely free. And we can see, because our speech is streamed, we can see what websites kids use our software on. So we know that it gets used a lot on National Geographic and Newsella and scholastic sites and so on. But there's a site that it gets used a lot on, which is fan fiction. Kids like going to fan fiction and listening to stories and chapters of books that their peers have read or have written. And what we want to do is, as well as letting kids consume text by listening to it, we want them to practice reading. So we've got about, actually this slide is slightly out of date, we've got about 4.8 million users now worldwide. So that's a lot of kids, and it's pretty sticky, and it's growing fast. You can see we've acquired, probably 3 million users in the last year, and that just keeps speeding up. And we want to see that keep on growing. We've got about 3 million active users every week, and so we have to keep a track of all this stuff. And we've got about 3 million active users every week, and about half of those users are using the free version of the software. And so we think that we can really get some new extra technology in here, which is quite simple for kids, but it might be really powerful for educators. And what I want to do now is just flip to some slides to explain how we think we can make this work. So the first thing is, I want to explain that this is not working software. This is effectively just some slides, some screenshots that one of our designers did, and it's to take you through the user journey. It's not exactly right yet, and if you've got any questions or any ideas or any feedback, just use the Q&A area at the side of your screen, and we'll be really happy to jump in. I've got my son involved in this. He's keeping an eye on the Q&A questions for me, and he's going to let me know if any questions pop up, and we can answer them straight away. So Jim is having problems getting connected, but we seem to have 16 other folks on. Hopefully Jim can get back on again. So I want to jump in now to show you what some of these visualizations are like from our designer. So I just need to jump first of all to screen number 1. So these are really screenshots, and I just want to talk you through how this would work. And we're not sure that we're going to do this yet. If you guys don't think it's a good idea, we probably won't do it. But if you think it's a good idea, then we probably will do it. So you can see the Read and Write toolbar here on the screen, and it's in a Google Doc, but the feature that I'm talking about will also work anywhere on the web. So, and you can see we've got this new little button here. So it's got all the regular Read and Write features, and we've got this new little button here, which is going to be to practice reading aloud. Now, our goal is to make this a free feature, so this would get added to the features that are completely free for anyone, anywhere in the world. And the idea is really simple. It's just to get kids to practice reading aloud and send that recording to their teacher. So the kid just selects some text, and then they press the practice reading aloud button. And we know that kids do this, they're comfortable doing this because we've already got the the voice note tool. Kids can make voice notes, and it's a very popular feature, it gets used a lot. So it's the same sort of idea, but instead of taking a voice note and embedding it in the doc, the kids just press the button, and up pops this little panel. They can switch on their microphone and it will start to record, and they can practice reading the little passage about the blue whale. And when they've finished reading, they can press stop and they can listen to their reading. And when they're finished listening, they can press stop again. Now, we know we've got another kind of sister product. We've got a companion product called Fluency Tutor, and it's really popular. We know that when kids practice reading and hear their own voice, they want to read more and they want to do this again. So we know from looking at analytics that's a very, very popular feature. And whenever you give a kid something to read, if they can hear their own voice, often they'll read for fun because they find that hearing their own voice reading it back is interesting for them. So, and if they like it, that's great. If they don't, they can press record again and they can re-record the passage. Quite often we'll see, again from analytics, that the kids who use this type of functionality, quite often they'll become a little bit perfectionist and they'll try reading again to improve their recording. So the idea is they make a recording, then they play it, they listen to it, they decide if they like it. And if they like it, they can press this little arrow key, or this not arrow key, it's a little paper airplane. And the idea behind the paper airplane is to send it to their teacher. And we think, you know, there are a lot of educators who are working really hard to try to get these kids to write. And it would be a really nice experience for them to receive a notification to say, you know, John has just completed some reading, and you know, click here to listen to it. So that's part of the idea. So what I'm going to do is click this little paper airplane, and what you're going to see now is still the student experience, and this should be the very first time that they've tried to send something to their teacher. Again, we know from analytics, lots and lots of our schools are using Google Classroom. So I'm going to use this Google Classroom as an example here. So when the very first time I use this, and this would only happen once, if I press this button as a student, it's going to say, okay, Read and Write would like to use Classroom to find your teacher. And if the kid clicks allow, then it's going to show them their teacher. If they're in elementary school, they've probably only got one teacher. If they're in high school or middle school, they may have multiple teachers. But they select their teacher, and then they send it to their teacher, and then they're done. They just go back to the toolbar again. That's great. And if they're not happy about the you know, the audio, they don't have to send it to their teacher. It's just what we're trying to do here is get that feedback loop in place where kid does some reading, they send it to their teacher. The teacher can really quickly just listen to it. You know, if the kid reads for 30 seconds and the teacher listens to it, and they click a thumbs up button, the kid gets some positive feedback about reading. And the cool thing is they can read anything they want. They can read something from fan fiction or any website, anything that they're interested in. Can be absolutely anything. So I'm going to click on yes here, and you can imagine then that we're going to switch screens, and we're going to switch to the teacher screen. Okay, and so the next screen is going to be what the teacher would see the very first time the teacher experiences this, because this is not something that the teacher is going to have to deploy or install. This is just something that we intend to add to the free version of Read and Write. And then, or we're thinking about adding to the free version of Read and Write. And so the next screen is what the teacher will see. So imagine I'm a teacher and it says, I've got an email in here in Inbox or Gmail, whatever my email client is. And it says, one of your students has shared a recording with you. And it will show you the student's name and the title of the document, if it was a web page or a Google Doc. And we can estimate the reading age of the content. And these are some of the things that we're interested in, because we can give you really very accurately now. We've conducted a very large scale research project on this. So we've got accurate reading age data for the 55,000 most common used words of English, which you know, has good coverage, certainly for the K-12 space. And we can tell, you know, how long it is, how long they've taken to record it. We can probably also give you some other information here, like what website they read it from, what the domain of the website is. You know, is it English language arts? Is it science? Is it fiction? We can probably give you some information like that in here as well. And then if you click listen now, it will take you to this little page where you can listen to it. Now, some of you are probably thinking, oh, I don't want to get 100 emails a day with kids. Some of you might think, great, kids, practice reading coming in, that's brilliant. We know that you're not going to want your inbox cluttered up with this stuff, but just the very first time that a kid sends you some reading, the inbox is the way for us to reach you, and then you can do this other thing, which I'm going to show you. So if I click on listen now, it's going to take me to this little page. It's a very simple little web page. It's a single function page, and it allows you to listen to the content. You can see the text that the kid is reading, and you can listen to the text. And we're going to give you like a thumbs up tool so that you can give the kid a thumbs up, and that way the kid will get some instant feedback, and it will say, your teacher Michelle has just given you a thumbs up for reading The Blue Whale. And ideally this is going to happen nice and quick. Now, I know that teachers often aren't good. You're not going to be in this browser, so I need to explain how you'll get notified. So imagine you're you're like a Class Dojo user, and you're just using Class Dojo, or you're on Gmail, or you're on Drive, or you're using Classroom or whatever, and you can see a notification appearing here in the top right of the screen, and you can see that it says new reading passage is completed, and it will say, John Smith has completed reading. So that's how you would get notified once you've been through this one time. And you can ignore it if you want. That's cool. And if you don't want to ignore it, you can click on it, and it will take you straight back to that page again. And you can listen to the reading and give Ryan, or whoever the teacher is, or whoever the kid is, give him a thumbs up to complete that feedback cycle. So that's that's kind of what we're thinking about. We've got a good deal of insight into this because we've got this other product called Fluency Tutor, and this type of behavior is at the core of Fluency Tutor, and we know that it's effective. We know that whenever kids are making recordings, they listen to themselves, and quite often they'll re-record because they're they're self-critical. They can listen to something and decide that they want to make a better recording, and then they can submit it. And the other piece of this is that, which we're considering doing, is that if you want to do this, you can also then score that passage in Fluency Tutor. So even though the kid is using Read and Write and they practice reading on something, if you want to, you can score that passage in Fluency Tutor. And Fluency Tutor is our oral reading fluency tool, where you can press play on a kid's recording, and we'll show you the text that they've read aloud, and you can click on any words as the kid's reading them and tag them as mispronunciations or hesitations and so on. It'll calculate the words correct per minute, and then you can store that in a dashboard. But that's a kind of optional piece for people who want to get into the whole oral reading fluency analytics side of things. Our first goal here is to get kids to actually practice reading at all in the first place in an enjoyable way with content that they want. From looking at Fluency Tutor, we know that whenever you give kids the tools to practice reading with whatever they're interested in reading, they're just much more likely to do so. And also, it's difficult for teachers to find, engaging and inspirational content for 30 different kids in class who are all at slightly different reading ages. And we think this will allow kids to self-select content that they're interested in. We can tell the kid what reading age that content is. Maybe that's a good idea. I'd welcome some feedback on that as well. I see some questions starting to come in here. There are several programs for younger kids practice reading by reading to dogs. Are you anticipating having some avatar options for motivation? That's a really good idea. Do you get questions regarding the sound of the recorded files? Are there size limits on practice passages? So I've got answers to that question. There's going to be no limit on the size of the practice passages. We're using Google Drive to store them, and we've got good experience of doing this with our Fluency Tutor product. We just encode the audio to MP3 and stream it up and store it on Google servers, so there's no problem. Typically, we're seeing kids, reading, you know, between 1 minute and maybe 2 or 3 minutes. 3 minutes of reading is a lot, and you know, this is just for the kind of little snippets of practice. Will there be an easy way that teachers can provide constructive feedback if the student is making excessive or consistent errors? So yes, Jane, that is the Fluency Tutor part. So the idea is, I think if kids are enjoying reading and they're doing well, the thumbs up is good. It's just an instant, you know, feedback loop to say, good job, well done, keep going. And for the kids who are struggling, then you can use Fluency Tutor to get right into the detail of the reading. And if you score a passage in Fluency Tutor and save it, the kid can log in, see the reading, and see where you've tagged mispronunciations and hesitations and all that sort of stuff. So Sherry, has research been published on? Not sure. Sherry, can you post the question again with more detail, so that we can, so I can answer that question more fully? Do I get questions or what do we say? Then Jane has also got another one here. If the student is unclear on how a word is pronounced, can they get accurate on-the-fly assistance? Yes. So they can use read and write to read the words aloud, and Fluency Tutor does this as well. So we know that quite often kids will, we can see kids doing this in analytics. So they'll jump in and they'll start reading a passage, and they'll read up to a point where they see a word that they don't understand, and then they'll stop the recording and they'll switch back and they'll use our text-to-speech to listen to the word to get a clue as to how it's spelled, or they can use, you know, our dictionary tool or picture dictionary tool, because we know that quite often understanding the meaning of a word will help them understand how it should be, how it can be pronounced, or how the kind of fluency of the sentence should run. And yeah, so they'll be able to use read and write to listen to any word and listen to the definition of any word, and then they can have another go and re-record. So Sherry has posted the question again. Has research been published on that? Can I provide the reference? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sherry. Do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it the feedback loop that your question is on, or not entirely sure? So can I ask, first of all, if people think that this is, I like the avatar feedback, that's very good. One of the things that we were going to consider doing, oh, Mark, your question, when students re-record, are they usually trying for better prosody, or are they correcting errors? In our experience, it's typically correcting errors, and quite often, as I was saying, they'll read up to a point where they see a word that they struggle with, and then they'll stop. Then they use the text-to-speech to get some guidance, and then they re-record then, and they can usually get past the kind of blockage. Will the practice reading aloud tell the teacher what grade or level the passage is at? Yes, yes, Jane, it will. And we've got a lot of different means of doing that. We can kind of, we're not giving Lexiles, but we recently conducted a large-scale survey of adults, actually, for the 55,000 most commonly used words of English. We surveyed, for each one of the words, we asked 30 people what age they were when they knew what the word was. And so we've got really good age of acquisition data, and it's helping us really build, you know, kind of on-the-fly reading age assessment stuff. So any other, I'm just kind of, my son has abandoned me, so I'm trying to keep a track of these questions as well as, so will the practice read aloud tell the teacher that what grade the passage is at? Yes. When the students re-record, I've done that one. Right, I'm still unclear on what Sherry's research question is. Oh, hey, Sharon. And okay. Yeah, so Jane, in your comment about the sophisticated pronunciation capabilities, yep, so occasionally all text-to-speech engines can stumble over unfamiliar words. We're working very closely with Nuance, our speech engine provider, and we also are, we work with Pearson and Scholastic and so on. In fact, in May, I think we read aloud 60 million words of English for kids, and we've got a team of people who are always updating pronunciations. So we do try to improve those things all the time, and there are new speech engines becoming available to us all the time. And the really cool thing about those are that because all of our stuff is cloud-based now, we can just update those, and you guys don't have to, get an update. We can manage all that sort of stuff for you. So that is, yeah. So can I get some feedback on generally whether people think this is a good idea, a bad idea? Should we go ahead and do it? Is the crossover with Fluency Tutor confusing, or is it useful? Because that's one of our real concerns. We don't want to, we really want teachers to be able to see what's going on and give a kid easy feedback. But we know that also there are going to be a bunch of teachers who really would like to have a, dip into Fluency Tutor, and with Fluency Tutor you can see for your class all the kids who's been reading most, how much time on task, what the average reading age of their content is, all that sort of stuff. So if there's any feedback on whether that kind of Fluency Tutor overlap is confusing or not a good idea, we would really value that feedback. Actually, I've just seen Sherry, and I see this now, the thinking about reading fluency and oral reading practice. So now we've had Fluency Tutor going for some time, and this has not been written up in a kind of peer review type scenario. This is just our own in-house looking at our own data. And so we have looked at kids who have used Fluency Tutor more than once per week. So if they've used it 4 times in a month, and they've used it at least 4 times, so our kind of benchmark for getting into this sort of little study set is kids who have used Fluency Tutor at least 4 times in a month. But if they've used it more than 4 times, that's great. And what we've been doing is looking at their average words correct per minute improvement per week. So I'm sure you're all aware of the Hasbrook and Tyndall research, which is, it's been around for a long time, and it's an oral reading fluency, benchmark that, if you get a 5th grader in the spring term and you get them to read some text and you measure their words correct per minute, you can look them up in the norms chart. And the norms chart also shows you the weekly improvement in words correct per minute, which after 1st grade is about 0.9 words correct per minute per week. And the kids who are using Fluency Tutor twice a week, the kids who are using Fluency Tutor at least once a week are improving at 1.8 words correct per minute per week. So that's about twice the national average. However, having said that, anyone who's really getting good instruction is probably going to go faster than the national average. But one of the things that we would like to do with Fluency Tutor and with this is get involved in a large-scale study. And if any districts are interested in doing a study with Fluency Tutor, we'd be delighted to make the software available to your district. Like the software wouldn't cost anything, but there would be some effort on your part to work with our researchers to help us collect the data and write up a study. But if anyone's interested in that, you can contact me. Let's see. So Carl, that's good feedback on Fluency Tutor. I'm just trying to read these questions at the same time. A brief explanation of the difference between Fluency Tutor and reading aloud. Yeah, so the reading aloud piece, Sandra, is just really simple. We want kids to practice reading aloud. Again, we know from kids using Fluency Tutor that whenever they practice reading aloud and they read aloud again and again, just helps their confidence. They become more confident readers, and they just get better. Fluency Tutor is really a teacher tool, and it is an analytic tool that will allow a teacher to score content. So you can see here for this kid, Ryan Graham, for this individual kid, I can see the dates and times that he did some reading, and you can see whether it was student-led or assessment-led. So if it's student-led, that means that the kid decided to do the reading themselves and posted a recording into the teacher. And although it's not in here yet, we're going to be able to show the reading age of the content and the total recording time in there. So Fluency Tutor is a much more sophisticated tool. It will allow you to calculate the words correct per minute, keep a track of the running record, and so it's really about not just the helping kids read, but also delivering really detailed feedback and keeping the running record. So the running record, if I click on one of these little circles in the live product, it would take me right to that reading passage. I could hear his reading and see the types of errors that he's making. So Fluency Tutor is really all about the assessment and measurement of improvement of oral reading fluency in a very simple way. We just try to display the text on screen, let the teacher hear the reading, and then very simply score the content. So we do have a lot of speech pathologists that use Fluency Tutor. Actually, we had someone in Canada. I think, Jade, if you can remind me, we had someone in Canada diagnose a visual disorder with Fluency Tutor. Unintentionally, it's not designed for that, but there was a speech pathologist who was using Fluency Tutor, and she suspected a visual processing disorder and referred the kid, and the information that she got from Fluency Tutor was the tool that gave her that insight. So Sherry, you work with PHSH students where we focus on more accommodations versus remediation strategies. I can see adult literacy upgrading programs using this tool more. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that older kids are going to find the read and write thing more. It's just less kind of measurement based. It's really what we're trying to do here is to get kids to practice. We can tell, I know I keep going over this, but because all of our stuff is in the cloud now, we've got so many users, we can really see the user journey, and we can tell that the kids who practice reading with stuff that they've chosen themselves do better. They're reading because they want to read, not because the teacher has assigned some homework for them. And when the teacher says, hey, I want you 3 times this week to find some text that you enjoy reading and read it for me. That's so much easier for the kid to do, and they can just grab some text, make a recording, and send it to the teacher. And if the teacher sees that they're getting 99%, then it's probably too easy, and the teacher can say, hey, next time try some more challenging content. So again, that's one of the reasons why we should probably pop up a little indicator for the kid to show them what reading age the content is. So does anyone have any other questions on this? Because I've got one other thing that I would love to be able to show you, and if I can show you that for a couple of minutes, it'd be really helpful. I just want to get a little bit more feedback. So we're very serious about this. This literacy mission that we're on. I've got a goal of reaching 100 million kids in my life, and so far we're only at 5. So we've got some work to do, but we really want to help kids by supporting them while they read and write, and help teachers by giving them the analytic information that they need to see how kids are improving at reading and see how they're improving at writing. And so on. And we've got a little project going on the writing side of things, and you're probably going to be hearing about it soon. But I just want to get some feedback from you in this one as well. So again, I'm just going to share my screen again, and if you can give me any feedback on some of this stuff, I would really appreciate it. So now let me see if I can share the correct window. Okay, so the other stuff we're thinking about is we want to do the same thing for writing that Fluency Tutor does for reading. And if you look at oral reading fluency, there's been lots of good work done on the assessment of oral reading fluency, and the Hasbrook and Tyndall study has been a reference work for probably 50 oral reading fluency products in the US. But there hasn't really been a good metric designed for writing. So in the same, the way we've got the Lexile level to assess the complexity of text or the maturity of text, and we've got this Hasbrook and Tyndall measure to assess oral reading fluency in words correct per minute. We've got the norms chart, but we don't really have that for writing, and that's really what we want to do. So this product that we're building is called Raiku, and it's a little bit of a bet on the longer term. We don't see this, we're not going to try to do anything commercial with this. This is something that we want to do because we really want to become an authority on writing analytics globally. So this is not a commercial thing. This is a large-scale data research project. And what we want to do is build a tool to build up a set of writing norms. So in the same way that the Hasbrook and Tyndall chart tells us that in the 5th grade, in the spring term, a kid should be reading at 150 words per minute on average. We want to know for writing, in the spring term, for kids who are given an open-ended writing task, what are the metrics? What do the metrics look like? And we know that we need teachers to help us with this, because we want teachers to use this tool to score some passages. So that means we've got to make something really useful, and we've got to make something free. We did this before with Read and Write for Google, and it's giving us a great insight into the way that kids use our tools, and it's really helping us to build better tools and build better tools faster and become more responsive to the marketplace. And we want to do this for writing. So what we've got, this idea that we have is a writing analytics dashboard. And for your class, you'll be able to see the total time that kids spend writing, any vocabulary, key vocabulary words they've written, the writing maturity, so the writing age of their content, the vocabulary diversity, so like a measure of how many different words they're using over time, spelling, punctuation, and grammar error rates. I know it's a kind of boring thing, but it really has to be measured and improved. And we want to really show this teacher dashboard. So really simple scoring tools with graphs and reporting and so on, and it's going to be completely free. Any teachers who do this, any teachers who get involved in this, are really helping us to build this table. We want to have this norms data set, and anyone who helps us by using this free product, you'll be kind of in at the ground floor, and it will be free forever. If we build something commercial with it later on, you guys will get access to the commercial version. Any teachers who help us with this early stage. So for example, if we get 10,000 teachers to score 100 documents each, and I'm sure most teachers would score 100 documents, that in 3 or 4 weeks you would do that, and just in the run of normally assessing writing, that would give us 1 million lines of data, and that would probably be enough to build a norms table. So that's the sort of thing that we want to do. And what we've got in mind is giving teachers some kind of a dashboard for their class or for individual students, where we can show things like spelling, punctuation, grammar, writing maturity, common core state standards, kind of vocabulary if that's going on, writing speed, which isn't really, until now, hasn't been readily accessible, but with Google now, because of the revision history thing, we can go in and look and see how fast kids are writing and how often they go back and correct their work, and this writing accuracy score. So this is something that we're planning to work on, and there's a kind of preview version of this going to be coming out in just a few days. And our goal is to make this completely free. And then the idea is that the kind of bigger picture thing is that whenever kids are using Read and Write, it can be obviously helping them to read and write, but if you ask them to do some writing and you're scoring their writing, the scoring can get pushed into this RIQ. The product is called this RIQ dashboard, and if you're scoring their reading scores get pushed into the Fluency Tutor dashboard, and we would give you one joined up kind of analytics view that would show you, what the reading and writing performance of your class is, but also show you things like, how they're using read and write. Do they perform better on pages where they're using speech? Do kids who use speech do better than kids who don't? Do kids who use the picture dictionary have better comprehension scores? So we really want to try to do some of this big picture analytics, and to do that, we have to build really good stuff and give it away free. So can I get any feedback? Anyone get any ideas? And so Sharon, are we looking at the UK and US norms differently? Yeah, we're going to start out in the US. And the reason why we're going to start out in the US is because, the scoring is going to be largely electronic, Sharon. We are going to have a first guess at all of this, so we can assess the punctuation completely automatically, the spelling completely automatically. The grammar, I think we're about 80% of the way there, and our goal is to get that completely automatic. The Common Core State Standards, completely automatic. The writing speed's completely automatic. So really all that this is very quickly, you go in and press a button. We show you how we think the document is scored. If you disagree with any of our scores, you tell us that you disagree. And that teaches our system to get better, and also gives us one more line of data in our database. So yeah, lots of this is designed to be really super easy for teachers. We don't want to be making extra work for teachers. The idea behind this is that teachers can focus on, seeing if the kid answered the question, or if they really grasp the subject matter, or if they're, their voice and their purpose and all of that sort of thing. We can look after the scoring of the mechanics of the document, the spelling, punctuation, grammar, writing speed, all of that text maturity stuff. So this should be, 90% automatic, and it's just we want a teacher to go in and have a quick look at our score and see if you agree with our score, and if you don't, how you disagree with it. So I'm just going to look at some of these. Is there a date that this will be added to read and write? So Gina, yes, our goal is to have this in read and write. If you guys think it's a good idea, our goal will be to put this into read and write over the summer, so that it will be there for back to school. Will the practice read aloud tell the teacher? Yes, it will. When students pre-record, that's mainly to fix errors. I'm just going through these again. The research I've kind of mentioned. Jane, I've mentioned the pronunciation thing. Sharon, I agree with you about the speech pathologist thing. The main difference with Fluency Tutor is that you can't analyze. So with some stuff, the Fluency Tutor, you get some stuff free, and so yeah, with Fluency Tutor, you can see, time on task, and you can see the reading age, the word count, and the only thing that you don't get in the free version is the words correct per minute. And if you need the words correct per minute, then the Fluency Tutor part, you have to get the premium. So Fluency Tutor, like most of our products, has got a free part and a premium part. The free part gives you a dashboard that allows you to assign passages and see time on task and listen to kids' readings and give them a thumbs up or ask them to try again. And it's only if you want to go in and do the detailed scoring that you need the premium version. Gina, is this available in French? It's not available in French. Well, actually, you know what? It will work in French because, the Canadian version will just work in French. The words correct per minute would also work in French, yeah, because we don't have any English specific stuff in there. Yeah, it would work in French. I hadn't thought of that. Raiku sounds okay. So anyone, and Gina, if you want to get involved in Raiku, that's coming out real soon, and you'll have access to that. How will this differ from read and write? So Raiku is really a teacher tool. Let me just show you how it works. If I go to a document here, let's see if I can find. Goodness knows what's coming up here on my screen. Hang on. Management meeting notes. You don't want to see that. But you know what? I've just seen a cool one. This is my son's Saturn fact file, which he did for homework relatively recently. Okay, so you can see he's done some writing here. Oh, you know, that's too long a document. I'm just going to try and I'm going to pick a shorter document. So the idea is, if I want to score this, I would go to add-ons, Raiku, and then, oh, it needs my permission to run. And I'm just waiting for the permissions dialog to appear. It's being slow, I think, because I'm streaming video in and out. Okay, so you can see the Raiku panel appearing at the side. It's checking my user registration. It's found me now. So this is a bit weird because I wrote this document. It knows that I'm the teacher. It's also identified that I'm the main writer. I'm the only person who was writing this document. So we can look at the Google revision history and tell that this is the main document, or that I'm the main author. And if I go to score the document, it's going to pop up this little window, and it'll just help me assess the document for spelling and punctuation and grammar. So you should see something appearing. So there's the text, and you can see the errors appearing. So you can see there's a punctuation error, and so on. Let me just resize this. Okay, so you can see the you know, we've identified some errors here. We've got 303 words, 15 sentences. The vocabulary maturity is 12 years old, and so on. And then if I save this, I can disagree with it. If I think that that's a grammar error, or if I think that that is a spelling error, or if I think that that is not an error, and then I just click save. And I can give some feedback. And submit it. And you can see this keeps a track of spelling, punctuation, and grammar. It's 95% error-free, and so on. And then that's it, job done. Now we know that it's much more important. Teachers need to go and do all the other good things that teachers do when they're assessing writing. But you can see that it's inserted this image, and in doing so, we've got the kids some feedback about the writing, and it then gives you some data. So if I go to my dashboard, for example. This wasn't meant to be a Raiku demo, by the way. But if I go in, so you can see my students here, and here's a student called Gail. I've scored 6 documents, that's 680 words. Her average maturity is 10.56 years, and she spent 13 minutes writing. I know she didn't spend a long time writing because Gail was cutting and pasting. She's not a real student. But if I go in, you can see that we can see one doc called The Balmoral Show, and the text maturity is age 11. There's another doc here called SAT Papers, and it's 84% correct. And there's another doc here which is about a missing plane, and it's 82% correct. And if I wanted to look at the missing plane story, I can click on it, and it'll show me. I congratulated Gail on her great clipboard skills because she just pasted it in. But I can go to the original document and see Gail's document, and I can see her score and so on. So that's partly what Raiku is. It's really just meant to be a quick, you know, tool to assess the mechanics of a kid's writing, and to allow teachers to spend more time, you know, assessing purpose and voice, and did they really answer the question that you asked them? Did they really, you know, set about the task that you gave them correctly? So that's Raiku. Any feedback on that would be very good, and you'll be hearing. We're going to be posting about this in the community, and Can the students see the results as well? Sherry, yes, the results get inserted into the top of the doc. So let's see, I'm just kind of looking at the rest of these questions here, because I know we're kind of getting towards the top of the hour. Cheryl, it's great that you're interested in helping. How accurate is the writing speed and writing accuracy when you only use this 2 times per month? So Carl, I don't know. The writing speed is going to tell you, every time you use Google Docs, every time you write in a doc, Google updates the revision history, and we can tell pretty accurately, how quickly someone writes. And if they only go in, if they spend 20 minutes writing something and then they leave it for 2 months and then they go and spend another 3 minutes, we can accurately tell you that they spent 23 minutes on that doc. So it's accurate to the minute level, but not to the kind of millisecond level. Let's see, US and UK, this is primarily a US thing. And okay, these are good questions. And so I don't think anyone thought it was a bad idea, which is encouraging. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just stop sharing my screen now. So if anyone has any other questions or feedback, just feel free to post in the community. This stuff is not really a complete secret, and if we have the discussion in the open, more people can get involved and keep us steering in the right direction. I've just seen some more comments here from Sherry. I would think they could use the read and write toolbar and click and play the word they're not sure. Yeah, I think that Sherry is responding to the other question. Yeah. So Sharon, that's a good question. This is one of our things when we're marketing this. What are we calling it, or how are you describing the tool? So if it's the oral reading fluency thing, it's just going to be a new button on read and write. And as for kids who are using read and write, it's just a new button on read and write, and it's just called Practice Reading Aloud. And teachers will then have the ability to listen to those things with the little notifications. And on that screen, if they really want to go into the detail, they can use the free Fluency Tutor for some basic detail, or if they're interested, they can try the premium version of Fluency Tutor for more detail. And then the RIQ product, the writing assessment product, is going to be called RIQ. So I think that's the questions answered. And no one has said, you're a crazy man, don't do it, which is very encouraging. Very happy with that. If no one else has got any other questions, I really want to thank you for taking 50 minutes of your day to give me this feedback. We are really, really thankful. We really want to do a great job, and we just want to try to get this right first time if we can. And so I would really value any further feedback. Feel free to post it in the community. I'll probably put a little note in there later on today. And if anyone has any ideas for improvements and you're shy about typing it, although I don't think any of you guys are shy, please just let me know, and we'd be very happy to get it plugged in there. And that's it. That's all I have for this evening. I think next time I'm going to use a hangout rather than a hangout on air, because it's a little bit weird just talking and not hearing people talking back. But that's for next time. Thank you guys. Thank you very much indeed. Bye.